Yeah, I gotta call the cops every time somebody see me. And that's according to the reality of the situation and who I am in the matter and everything else like that. Yeah, I call the cops every time somebody see me. Because it's a lot of investigating that gotta happen, even if it's unreasonable to some people. Yeah, and it's implied, of course, but it has to happen because I'm not somebody been doing any way I'm supposed to. So it's a situation like that. Anytime I'm saw or heard or interacted with, I must. Because it's a lot that got to be looked into, but that's legally according to my talent and the things that I've already invested in without money, because the money's supposed to come with it, but something unnatural happening and occurring to my life and finances right now, and my life and finances are the unnatural conceits, and that's the name of the game, and that's what's happening right now for me. But I follow the light, the righteousness, the Bible stuff, and that's what I was doing the whole time. And every time I prayed, I asked God forgiveness for calculating, because I didn't do anything different for the matter. And that's it. Yeah, every time I talk, it got to be on recordings. It got to be on recordings because it's too expensive. It's too expensive, and that's me being a reasonable businessman on what I am. I market my brand and the things I am. Now, the way they got me on the camera lenses is uncommon. Now, when I said help white women, I meant it. Because white women are the backbones to society. And I'm black. I've been black my whole life. And I follow everything the black people said. Yeah, in every community. Except for the crazy stuff they made for themselves in order to get paid with. That was their own relativity. Yeah. But me personally, yeah, I did things according to what I grew up with, which is Baptist church, remember? And I also did the things I supposed to. But it had no effect on my, let's say, my lyrical prowess. I don't think, because I could create stuff so intimate that it's entire chapter books like novels, but it all rhyme better than Dr. Seuss. Yeah, and it tells stories on things that I can do in my comfort and peace and self-brightness from the flesh in the earth. Yeah, in the earth from the flesh, I have the talent to do that, but I'm not being crazy. I already showed you. And I showed you already in all these recordings from freestyles with it. So if I sit down and do the things when I'm not being interrupted or unbattered, then you understand that I'm not somebody who lying about my talent or my skill set. I create, all these novels and chapter books that rhyme from cover to cover, but it's not the same as what you probably know. This is something I plan on doing. I already called the police and won. Yeah, because my stuff was being stolen in plain sight by people who represented New York City. And I didn't know what to make of it. Yeah, it was like to a point where I was in a position of being a Krakow bot captain. They was telling me that I could not do something they was sitting there watching me do with absolute certainty. And people that came up said it was New York City. But at the time, I didn't have any understanding of what occurred before in my younger years or after that point. And I didn't know how invested they were into this. But people were sitting down with me, watching me do it, and telling me that I can't do this and telling everybody else I can't do it. Literally. And using guns to make me accept that I can't do something that I'm openly doing. So after that, respect and anything went out the window. It was just a matter of who has the firepower to prove courts. And that's what it was. It's the firepower to prove courts, which is the first time an occurrence happened in history. You had to have the firepower to prove courts. And this was against me. But that doesn't mean nobody else had involved in it. Because if they from the U.S. legitimately, like I am, I was born and raised here, and I had no problems until today, the last couple years in history. So I never had a problem until now. Even when they was waging war against me, I knew it was a certain limit they have to get for the police get crazy, derate, and strong in my favor only. So I knew that it's only so far anything can happen before things get real crazy. And when I sat there all year, I realized things did get that crazy, but it was not for me, which is weird because I know I don't have no criminal history. I don't have a criminal record, nor did I do anything to offend not one man that I ever seen. And I always be in public my whole life as a trucker and everything else being. But except my homely residents, that's different. Because homely residents, I welcome no intruders. Since 1994 to now, I say no intruders welcome. But that's homely residence. In my homely, that's different. Nobody is welcome. Illegally, unless they knocked on the door, and then I met them. Yeah. Now, my living My living requirements now is fairly Egypt and Sodom. I'm going through something so bad that nobody else can understand it until I explain it for an hour. If I explain it for an hour first, then they understand it. But I'm going through something so bad that the average person couldn't. And that's already happening to me before I got here and everywhere. But I didn't do anything to deserve it. But it's so important and so wide far out, then it's not supposed to happen to somebody that's going through this. Yeah, even if it was, it shouldn't. So that's how bad it was. And it compounds every day, it seems, but it can't because the law. So if the police is doing anything, then that's it. But I've never been a person who mentioned the police because it wasn't a part of my life. If I ever mentioned it, it was guided by things that I had no control over. But it was not weird, crazy, super Sancho stuff. It was literally genius. But I can speak about the police because I'm in favor of the righteous steps that the police have that I also share. But I do it in a different way. I don't do it like for myself, but I do it for entertainment. Yeah, to entertain, and I can write it, and that's part of some of the chapter stories I got. So all this stuff worked together, but I ain't get to the chapter stories, nor did I get to finish the fishing hole and things like that I created, these huge titles, large project names that I didn't get to in the flesh and earth, and I still can't because I got to preoccupy myself with my personal life. I can't make money the same way that these people made money that's already with celebrities, because if they made money that way and I do it, then I lose because they went through different things. They had to sacrifice different stuff. They had to give weight to other things in order to get that money they got. So I got to do things like regular people in order to make money. But they can do it how they got it and keep it forever for whatever reason. I don't know because I didn't know it. I didn't get taught. They didn't tell me how to do it. So I didn't care. But I myself have to do things normally. But I still can accomplish the same result over time. But if they don't give me the opportunity, that's illegal and it's weird. So I did everything I should do, and I praise God the way I can. And I didn't disturb nobody in the process because I'm wise enough to know 85.0 Sikkim widow watch is not loud enough to disturb the next person. If anybody say something like that, that's illegal and against the Constitution. And that's it. So now you see, yeah, the devil busy trying to keep me from speaking. Yeah, in a different way. Yes, that's military code for Sanders. 8.0 ACO Skockum. Yeah, it's not loud enough to disturb nobody who is not intruding your personal space. Yeah. In which case, it's illegal. So that means you being listened to and nobody else doing anything else. And so I don't know what else to tell them. But I'm not the one here, but people are already illegally listening and trespassing in somebody else's house. I know it. Yeah. Yeah, Gregory's are very important. I was forced to learn in a crash course of turbo tankerums in regards to this poltergeist free air things that the U.S. justice system does recognize and approve of in everyday civilian life. But I myself wasn't informed of it for reasons that were beyond my favor, power, and anything I care about. So I didn't care why, how, just my personal rights being subjected. And so since that is the case, I didn't do anything to deserve being left out of anything, but I was. So it was so much happening that most people know that I wasn't aware of because I was kept out of it strategically, systematically, through a long course of effort, through machines and other stuff that was happening. But I'm not going to give weight to it because I don't deserve that kind of fate. I don't deserve to have the results of what that leads to, if you will. I don't deserve to relish in those results, which is death, murder, starvation, and the things like that. It sounds a lot like, yeah, a success walk, except I'm just naturally standing here, and this is happening to me out of all men. Yeah, which is not something that I had anything to do with. And that was it. Somebody on the phone is not a problem. But somebody that's from out of town that drive trucks that's on the phone is 100% trucker savvy Rian Daniel. So everything that trucker science, I know it naturally from learning over experience. But some people who had different plans for me illegally, they probably wanted me to know something different. And they probably wanted me to be in a different place or a different way intelligently. But intellectually, I'm so sound and credit with it that I already told the streets, the gangs, and the public who I was before they got to the point where they could understand it. So I told every gang and every public yesterday on Twitter.com, social, LA8, LA lives 8. And I spoke already and told people who I was as a person and everything. If they didn't care, they was already participating in something that I had no power over, and I couldn't do anything else about. But I didn't bother them, me, or the people. But they are capable of doing things that I myself was not aware was possible. And see, if I'm not aware it's possible, I didn't have the fair gathering assortment. I didn't get a chance to learn what was happening and how to do anything else about it. And that's what it was. But I'm not the one who's in credit Patakray, because I already contacted all white women to help those that would. And I protect their life force with all I am. Because I can rap and create art beautifully. And I can do it so masterfully that I can get paid for everything else that somebody else could do without saying it, like Astor P.